Hey everyone, this is Suresh. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about the event source. This is used to push data from the server to the client, and event source is one of the web APIs that's available in most of the modern browsers. This is a living standard. You might be already knowing about Ajax. Ajax is used as a short polling technique that you keep on polling from your client side to get the data from the server. Once the data is sent from the server, the connection is closed. Mm. And there is something called comet, which is also called as long polling. uh, in that long polling, you do the same as Ajax, but the server would hold the connection and keep it open till it responds back to the client. So these two techniques are good, but if they are used in the portable devices, something like tablet or mobile, then the polling technique is going to drain the battery life of the device. To solve that, we can go with event source. Now, in event source, the client is going to make a request only once to the server, and once the connection is made, then the server is going to send or push data to the client through events. And the clients who all are listening on those events, they can retrieve the data and process and show it to the user or whatever they want. uh, like, why this is not going to drain your battery? Because this is using something called push proxy. The push proxy gateway is sitting away from your device, so only the initial connection is handled by the client, and after that the connection is given to the push proxy. Okay, here I have set up my server and some code. Let me run my server here. I run node server all the time. You can use whatever server you want. Let me refresh. Yeah, it's a simple page, server sent events. That's it. There is nothing fancy over here. And let me show you what I'm doing here. uh, this is my HTML page. I'm just including one CSS file and the JS file. Let me open the JS file. Is the file which will be run on the client side or the browser side. uh, you can check if your browser supports event source or not, by checking this one. The event source is an interface that is available with the window global object. If it exists, then you can create an instance of event source. The event source can take two arguments. The first one is URL, and the other one is credential related. I'll come to that later. So once you create the source instance, event source instance, then you can fetch, or you can listen on events to get the data that are sent by the server. This is the source of all the events that are created and triggered by the server. Let's see. So this event can be of any file. uh, I'm using JS, and the only requirement for this one is that the content type should be a event hyphen stream. Okay, that is text slash event hyphen stream. Let me show you how I have written it. So this is my Node.js server. So if I find this path, the router stream.js, then I just add content type as this one. It is a basic requirement to make a stream file. And here I'm just reading one text file which would have data that can be streamed. Uh, and I'm just simulating something like you know streaming for every second. I just read the data from that text file and send it to the client. You can see that file. So I have nothing in there. There's a stream data format. uh, it's part of the standard. I'll leave a link in my video. You can check that out later. It's pretty simple. For example, if I want to add a data like maybe hello YouTube, then this is how you are going to send the data. The format is data colon then the message. Comments would be like colon. If you start a line with colon, then that's going to be a comment. This is a comment. So there are standard format for stream data. Just we'll learn it while doing this thing. Okay, so now what happens, we have a message which is hello YouTube. We have event source instance, but we are not listening on those events, right? So by default, the source instance would have three methods. Those all are like the for you can start with on open. So these are event handlers that you can find it with this event source instance. So this means the connection is open, and there is one more. Whenever there is a message, this event handler will be called. So the event object will have the data that are sent by the server, and there is one more method called on error. So these all are event handlers that you can find it with this event source instance. You can write you have corresponding events also. For example, if you don't want to write this one like this, you can add event listener on message. So on message event handler corresponding event is message. Okay, let's start the server. Let me refresh. You can see that the connection is open because that is what getting called. That is the first event that was called immediately after opening the connection between the client and the server. And you can see here the stream.js, which we are calling from the client, is made request only once. That means there is no further TCP connection overhead. This is one of the advantages of using event source over Comet or Ajax. It's not reading the data because the data we are actually sending the data, but the data is not printed out. Okay, so the reason is that this stream format, you should have two new line characters. See, when I added one extra line, empty line, you started seeing the data. Hello YouTube. You can change the data. You don't need to do anything. Immediately you see it's changed. And here also you can see, let's show me here. Yeah, you can see the network panel. um, there was no extra request made to the server. We haven't mentioned any event in the stream file, in the data file. So by default all the data would be sent to this event, message event. So if you are listening on the message event, you would get all the default all the data that all are sent without any event. But you can also create your own custom event, something like this. And for that event you can give data like this. Now then you go to your JavaScript file and you can listen on that particular event. Now this event is called welcome, and if you listen on that event, let me add some comment. Welcome event data. Let me refresh because I have to reload the client-side JavaScript file. Let me refresh. Do you see this? So this welcome folks is coming from the other data, the default event, which is message, and welcome event data, you can see it over here, that is coming from the welcome event. I'll show you. Change that welcome event data, you can see it over here. You see that? So this is how you can create your own custom events at the server, so that the clients can subscribe to those events and listen on them to get the data. So we would see more details in my next videos. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. See you again.